G7 leaders meet in Italy with Ukraine and Gaza on agenda. The leaders of the group of 7 G7 countries are set to meet in Italy later this month to discuss a range of global issues, including the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and the recent violence in Gaza. The summit, which will take place in the picturesque coastal town of Taormina, will bring together the heads of state from the United States, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom, as well as representatives from the European Union. The meeting comes at a critical time for both Ukraine and Gaza, as both regions are facing significant challenges. In Ukraine, the government is grappling with ongoing tensions with Russia and pro-Russian separatists in the east of the country, while in Gaza, recent clashes between Palestinian protesters and Israeli forces have resulted in dozens of deaths and hundreds of injuries. One of the key topics on the agenda for the G7 leaders will be the situation in Ukraine. Since Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, the country has been mired in a protracted conflict that has resulted in thousands of deaths and the displacement of over 1 million people. The G7 leaders will likely discuss ways to support Ukraine in its efforts to achieve a peaceful resolution to the conflict and to address the ongoing humanitarian crisis in the country. Another major issue that the G7 leaders will address is the recent violence in Gaza. The region has been the scene of renewed unrest in recent weeks, with tens of thousands of Palestinians protesting along the border with Israel. The protests, which were largely peaceful, were met with a strong response from Israeli forces, resulting in a high number of casualties. The G7 leaders will likely discuss ways to de-escalate the situation and to prevent further violence in the region. In addition to these pressing issues, the G7 leaders are also expected to discuss a range of other global challenges, including climate change, trade, and international security. The summit will provide an opportunity for the leaders to exchange views and to coordinate their efforts on these and other important matters. The G7 summit in Italy will also be an important opportunity for the new U.S. President, Joe Biden, to engage with his counterparts from other major industrialized nations. President Biden has made it clear that he is committed to working closely with U.S. allies to address global challenges, and the summit will provide an important platform for the new administration to outline its priorities and to seek common ground with other G7 countries. The meeting will also be closely watched for any signs of division among the G7 leaders. In recent years, the group has faced internal disagreements on a number of issues, including trade and climate change. With the U.S. taking a more assertive stance on these and other issues under the Biden administration, there is a possibility that the G7 leaders may not see eye to eye on all fronts. The G7 summit in Italy will be an important opportunity for the leaders of some of the world's most powerful nations to come together and address pressing global challenges. The discussions on Ukraine and Gaza, in particular, will be closely watched, as both regions are in urgent need of international support and attention. The outcome of the summit will also be an important indicator of the extent to which the G7 countries are able to work together to address global challenges and to uphold their shared values and commitments.